Welcome to the show that takes up no more than 5 minutes of your time, but could help you gain massive real estate knowledge. It's 5 Minutes in Real Estate with best-selling author Shane Willis.
Hello, it's Shane Willis, Festival Real Estate Expert, bringing you today's episode. It's Tuesday. Got a whole lot of construction going on around the area already. Why don't we put a fence up? Yay. We need to put a fence up there. We're going to walk the opposite way. So, today, I've been getting asked questions before, and I hear it a lot about, hey, is it a good time to rent? Not to buy, but to rent. And when I answered no, now is not a good time, I was a guy that told me, yeah, I understand that, but you're a real estate agent. You're a real estate broker, so it's never a good time to you. And I kind of got to thinking, going, I wonder if that's out there. I wonder if that's kind of out in the universe, that because I'm a licensed real estate broker, that I'm never going to tell you that, is a good time to rent. And it's actually not true. I would tell you that, and I don't like making the blanket statement of, is it a good time to rent? No, all the time. Because there are times that are a good time to rent. If, let's say for instance, you're only going to be here a year, you know what? That may be a good time for you to rent. Because the closing costs are not going to be made back. Even if we try and negotiate and get the seller to pay for those, you're probably not going to make those back. But we could look at it oppositely and say, well, if you're here for a year, you could turn that home into a rental. I've got a friend of mine out in Colorado. He's in Colorado Springs or Fort Collins, Colorado. And he actually teaches a method called the nomadic lifestyle. And he basically says that you buy a new house every year or every 18 months. Because you can use the financing for a home, which is better financing terms than if you had a investment property. And he said you basically buy a new one every 12 to 18 months using those terms, and then turn your past home into an investment property. It's a good strategy. I don't know how good it would be if you have children that come into play, because they do like some stability. But anyways, is it a good time to rent? Well, I pulled up a stat that came up from the Census Bureau, and I'll put this in the show notes. 2018, their first quarter median rent numbers, according to their report, since 1988 until now, there's been a steady increase in rent. I was just talking yesterday with a person who's looking to buy as an investment property. He wanted to stay here because he's going to be here 2 years, and then he's moving on down to Tampa. He's got to do something with the company here. It's not military. There was something the corporation said that he was going to be here 2 years, then he was going to move on down to Tampa, which is fine. But we were talking about rent, and I told him, I said, in the area that you're looking at doing, you're probably going to have rent turnover about every 2 to 3 years. Because he's looking at the back gate of Naval Air Station, which is fine. I own rental properties out that way now, currently. And I said, the turnover to me actually doesn't bother me that much, because we're going to actually see an increase in rental rates on the turnover. Every time I've turned over, there's a property I'm thinking of right now. We've had about 4 turnovers in the past 6 years. Every time we've turned over, we've upped the rent and had no problems getting the increased rent. I don't like upping rent on a person that's staying there paying well, not having much trouble. Sorry about that. I don't like upping the rent with someone doing that right after their first contract. I know there are some other rental management companies and rental management instructors out there that say you should up the rent, all the time to match the current market. So every time you go to renew a lease, I normally don't do that. I have been known to up rent after 2 or 3 years in a property, but I've also been known not to touch them. I've got a property that's coming on the market. One of my rentals is actually coming back to me at the end of this month. So here in a couple of weeks, we've got a property coming back to us. Lady's lived there for 6 years. I've never went up on rent. Now that's probably bad management, but she's probably had 4 maintenance calls the entire time, and she put me on auto pay. So the rent shows up on time every month because it's on auto pay. So that type person, I just have not gone up on rent. But now that I'm turning it back over, she's been renting for $850. I looked at it and I'm probably going to wind up getting $1075 for it fairly easily because it's a 3-2 with a 1-car garage. So that one's probably going to be easily $1075. And I know that cost me money over the last couple years, but good tenants sometimes are hard to find as well. Back to this. Is it ever a good time to rent? It is. There are some times. If we look at it just statistically though, statistically and economically right now, with the rates the way they are, and with inventory the way it's at, and what you can get, your buying power because of your rates right now, is now a good time to rent? Emphatically no. Again, situationally, maybe. But overall, when I just look at it from a macro standpoint, rents are continued to rise steadily since 1988, and they still cost you more to rent than it does to buy, even when you calculate upkeep that you have to do when you own the property. Okay, so that's all I got for you today. As always, if you hadn't subscribed to get the tips, tricks, graphs, infographics that we send out on Friday, get over to 5minutesinrealestate.com. That's 5minutesinrealestate.com. Also, if you have not subscribed to the podcast, we got all kinds of planes flying over today. Feels like I'm living back in Perdido again. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, get over there to your favorite player of choice: iTunes, Apple, Google Play, Android, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I think we're pretty much on everything. Hit subscribe, give me a like. I would love a nice comment too. And finally, as always, it does cost me money to produce these, but I never ask for any payments from you. I do, however, ask that if you found value in this or any other episode, that you share it on social media. Happy Tuesday, everyone.